Good morning and welcome in. I'm Rhonda Holt, the Loan Maven with Thrive Mortgage, and we are having a party here in the studio. We just don't have our mimosas or whatever we need. I've got a special guest in the studio with me this week, and just a reminder, every week we talk about mortgages, all things mortgage, from buying investment property to credit repair, all of those things pertain to mortgages. But our special guest this week is Patty Brooks, and she is a realtor extraordinaire. Patty, why don't you introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Patty Brooks. I've been in Lynchburg since 1980, and I've been a realtor since 2019. I'm with the Real Estate Advantage. Judy Wooten is my broker, and I love being a realtor, love meeting new people, and love getting to know Rhonda as well.
Yeah, well, we have a great team camaraderie. We work well together as a team, and that means a lot for our buyers out there, because you've got to have an awesome realtor that you're working with when you're buying a home, and you've got to have an awesome lender out there. I would consider that. So together we do make a great team, and the fact that Patty looks and is diligent about finding that perfect home for whatever situation may be, and of course I get them pre-approved ahead of time, and we know exactly what they're pre-approved for. But today on the show we're going to be talking about how you, as a parent, perhaps can actually invest in real estate for your son or daughter. And Patty and I talk about this topic a lot, and of course I know we have a big listening audience out there, but we have the colleges, and I know Patty wrote them down. Patty, who are the colleges that we have here?
University of Lynchburg, CVCC, Randolph College, Liberty University, Sweetbriar, and Virginia University of Lynchburg.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of colleges here, and I know that the colleges, especially Liberty, they bring in a lot of business to our area. And I know that a lot of times, I know one thing that we were talking about is there's several different angles that you can do this, as far as, when you're putting your child through college, son or daughter, you've got to figure out, room, board. You've got to figure out all those things when it comes to buying a home. When it comes to putting putting your child through college, you've got to figure out all those things, the cost of that. And when you're looking at that, you've got to consider, and I know Patty and I put some statistics together, or Patty put these as far as actual numbers for just Liberty. So kind of give us a breakdown of what that looks like.
Okay, to attend Liberty University, I was looking at the housing cost, and they have a tier system where you can do 5 different ways of living on campus. And it is as high as $8,700 to as low as $4,740.
Can you imagine that?
A semester.
A semester.
Yeah, a semester.
And of course, my kids went to Liberty, and my son is still going to Liberty. And of course, I know what it cost. And of course, my son lives at home, which is convenient because we're like really close to the school. Same with my daughter when she was going, but that is just crazy.
It is. And I have 4 kids that all went to Liberty as well. And I had the privilege of them being able to stay home. I had a couple of my girls that had scholarships that were able to go on campus. They cheered for Liberty. But when you average that out, just the cost of all 5 of those tiers, it's $6,500 a semester. So for 4 years, they could pay about $52,000.
What?
Yeah.
And have nothing to show for it. As far this is a
housing.
Housing.
And that's not including your meals. Your meals are on a separate.
Wow.
So room and board, what is about $1,300, $1,400, just the room? And
yes, $1,300
a month.
a month. That's the average of all 5
Wow.
of them. So,
and really, Liberty's no different than every other school out there. They're all charging, what they charge for college and so forth. But you figure
this is just for the housing.
This is just for the housing.
This is not the
Yeah,
get
the
your
college,
degree.
yeah.
This is just for the housing.
Yeah.
That's what I meant
And
when
you
I
have
said
the
did nothing,
convenience of being there
Sure.
on campus.
Right.
But, if you have that vehicle, and there's other avenues where Liberty has shuttle services that go around outside of Lynchburg to the bus service.
Yeah.
So you can take advantage of that.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, you could save so much money if you didn't, if you were able to maybe get your own house. You could save, and that's what we're talking about today. I'm Rhonda Holt with Thrive Mortgage, and we're here in the studio with Mary White and our guest, Patty Brooks. And she is a realtor that we team up and work together with, and we're talking about the expenses that there are with Liberty University and all the other universities. That's just the cost of going to college and getting a degree. But the housing alone, we were saying, costs $1,300, $1,400 on average a month just for the housing. So Patty and I, we talk a lot, and Patty sends a lot of people my way as far as looking for an option other than spending money renting or spending money living on campus in a dorm. I know I did some statistics as far as Lynchburg in the area. So Lynchburg, and we've got this from rent.com, average rent in Lynchburg is for a 1-bedroom is $800 to $950 a month. 1 bedroom. All right, so if you want to have roommates, which most people do, 2 bedrooms average is $1,072 a month. So that's just a 2-bedroom rental. You're throwing away money in rent, but sometimes you got to rent. But studio apartment, one of those studio things, $1,600 average. I mean, that is just crazy. So, and then, of course, apartment ranges in Lynchburg, and this would include, you can get out in the counties as well. But when you look at apartment prices or rental prices and looking at typical rent per month as far as room and board at the college or colleges, I think it's a better option if we could find some people that would want to buy and save money and have their own place and have their own investment into real estate. See, that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
I know Patty and I worked on one. Tell us about the one that we were talking about earlier, Sarah.
Yeah, I think this happened about a year ago. I received a call from a girl named Sarah who was just towards the end of graduating from Liberty, but she wanted to continue on with her studies, and she was also working at Liberty. And one of her family members really wanted to help Sarah, so we started looking at condos. We felt like that was the best way to go, not to have to take care of the lawn. And so we found her a condo, and then it was ready for her to say, okay, I'm ready for the next step. We found something. So I told the family member to contact Rhonda, and Rhonda got her all set up to pre-qualify. And it is a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath condo. So she has one roommate that pays rent. And then the other room, she has it vacant so that family members can come all the way from California, is where her relatives are from, or even overnight guests, and then she stays in the other one. But just living there year after year, she'll require equity in that house.
Yeah.
And it's not throwing away money, it's actually having a piece of property that will accrue value.
Right. So that's the key. I think that in that particular situation, there are many, all situations differ, but this family member that lived out of state would then have the opportunity to come and stay with Sarah, come and stay in the house, have an extra room. So the family member that's helping her out, this would be a second home for the family member. And so the criteria around, and we're going to talk about this a little later on, the criteria for the second home is a little bit more lenient and more comfortable for folks. And that worked for them. And plus, the rent is kind of being subsidized around the fact that she has the roommate paying $600 or whatever it was a month. So that's probably, just in my estimates, and I can't remember the specific transaction details, but in that particular situation, that was probably half of the rent
Yeah. If that roommate
or
paid
half the
even,
mortgage.
yeah, if that roommate paid $600 a month for 4 years, you would get $14,400 a year, or in 4 years you could get $57,600 in rent.
Wow.
So that makes a big difference.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So I think that there are plenty options when you look at something like this. You can do this type of financing different ways. I think that in this situation, we were able to, this family member wanted to help Sarah out, and Sarah was not on the loan in this situation. I think that when situations where we do not add the person or the student to the loan, it may be a situation where they haven't developed credit yet. We could talk about that. But in this situation, the family member wanted to buy it kind of as an investment. You know, if Sarah moves on, she owns that. She could certainly rent it out to more students.
Yes, absolutely.
Or she could sell it and make a profit. So those things work, but that's an investment for you. And that's not money that Sarah, may be throwing away money every month in rent. And it was certainly, I remember, a nice condo. So where are you going to get a nice condo for rent with the low mortgage payment that she ended up paying in this particular situation? Patty, tell us again about what the average cost for the room and board is on the college level.
It's unbelievable. It's $6,500 a semester, and that's an average for one university that's here in town. So you could be paying well over $50,000 in 4 years.
Wow! So in $50,000 in 4 years, and think about, I was looking this morning at, you could own a $150,000 house, $200,000 house, and with values going up in this market as they are, that home could definitely be up in value in 4 years.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you've thrown away $50,000 in rent for your son or daughter.
Yes.
So think about that a moment. And this, guys, can work anywhere. It's not pertaining just to Lynchburg, Virginia or surrounding areas. This can work anywhere. And the one thing I wanted to stress is that we gave a scenario before the break of how a loved one bought a home as a second home. So there are a few different scenarios that you can do as far as buying an investment property like this. For example, the first one that you could do, for example, let's say you live out of state and you have a son and daughter that goes to one of the colleges here. You could have that son or daughter go on the loan with you. So that son or daughter, what I look for as a mortgage lender, we would want to make sure that the son or daughter has established some credit. Doesn't have to be a lot. We want to get a credit score for that son or daughter. That's the main thing. And that the score is good. It may not be really high depending on what kind of credit they've had or established. And we've talked about a whole show, Mary and I, about how to establish credit from the ground up. But I think that we need to have a credit score for sure. And they may not have a job. They may not work. But they may be just going to school, and that's okay. And the parent or parents would go on the loan with that son or daughter, as the parents would be at that point a non-occupied co-borrower. And those types of situations are allowed in some loan programs. And in this case, then, that son or daughter would be the owner of this house, and it would be a primary residence. And the reason why I bring this scenario first, because the primary residence is the best type of loan type of scenario that you would want to do. And if we did it as a primary residence, you're going to have better rates, better interest rates. You're going to have the ability to put a low down payment if you were a parent and you were, say, gifting the down payment for the son or daughter. Obviously, you could have a down payment as low as 3.5% if we went FHA, and that would be okay. I think that if you were if you were a parent and you wanted to avoid private mortgage insurance, obviously, for your son or daughter, and you wanted to give them 20% down on a loan, we would probably go conventional. Without getting into too many details, that would avoid the private mortgage insurance if everyone qualified. And again, this would be a primary residence loan for this son or daughter. They would own a house. So that's good. Now, second scenario I would suggest is, and Patty and I have done this before too, would be like in the scenario for the break, is the parent would go ahead and just buy the home as a second home for the expectation that the son or daughter would live in the home. And, you know, in a second home situation, that's a good situation as well. That means that you can't, as a parent, you can't live 10 miles down the block from the house, because that's not really a second home. You know, you've got to live probably at least, the rule of thumb is, if you get into 45 minutes, an hour away, then that could be a second home, you know, because people have lake houses, their second homes, so forth. Or if you're out of state, obviously it could be a second home. So 10% down is the minimum on those. And we've done those before. 10% down is all that's required of the parent of the person buying the home. And the student would live there, and they could have roommates, whatever they wanted to do. They could have a place where the parent goes in and spends, you know, time with them when they come in. They would have a place to stay when they visit. So that's the ideal situation as well. And then, of course, lastly, then you would get into the possibility where we would just straight out, parent would buy the home as an investment property. And when you do an investment property, that in a situation like that, if you were buying it for the son or daughter to live there, then the only situation that I would say I would suggest an investment property, let's say, and you've had these situations before where people are looking for a house and they're not, you know, if they come here, that son or daughter is going to have 3 or 4 roommates. They're not going to be staying in that house. And they're just going to come here and stay in a hotel when they come to visit. And they straight up just tell me that, you know, I'm not planning on coming and staying in that house, you know, so she's going to have 3 or 4 roommates, so I'm just going to stay in a hotel. So if that's the situation, then it would be an investment property. Still a great investment. It does require more of a down payment though if you do that. So it requires 20 to 25% down payment versus the 10 or lower if we go the other routes. And that may be, the interest rates tend to be a little bit higher on the investment property. So, you know, we want to make sure, you know, if you're coming to stay with that son or daughter, you know, it might be a second home, you know, we don't know. We've got to see where that fine line is on those situations. But Patty, I know that you've worked with some of this before. So, you know, let's just say, you know, the parent buys the investment property and they've got 3 roommates. And, you know, what were you saying in the situation we were talking about? How much was that roommate paying?
One roommate was paying, if they were paying $600 a month for 4 years, you would gain about $14,400 a year, or $57,600 in rent in over 4 years.
So if you had, if
2 roommates, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
2 roommates, sorry, 2 roommates. So that's just 2. If you had 3, can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
That?
You bought a 3-bedroom house, perhaps, and you have, or you know, even in just a 3-bedroom house. Say your son or daughter is living in 1 bedroom, 2 other roommates living there, and let's say they pay what, maybe $600 each.
About the average is $600.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's $1,200, depending on the house. And I'm thinking in my head, my calculations are working. I mean, that's probably right there is a $160,000 house, and your mortgage would be paid for. So think about that a minute. With 20% down, if you put 20% down to avoid the mortgage insurance. So that is a big investment for you, and you're basically you're coming out to the good probably. Because rent, again, you're throwing money away each month.
And if you have that extra bedroom that you leave vacant, like Sarah did, just think about graduation and college for a weekend and homecoming, the hotels are all booked.
Oh, yeah.
So with graduation, some parents live, they actually will stay an hour away from Lynchburg. So now you can get 5 to 10 minutes away from Liberty and have a place to stay every time that you come and visit your son or daughter.
Right. So, yeah, that's the ideal situation. So, you know, and if you've never thought about investing into real estate, that's a perfect opportunity for you. And another thing, and I know you and I have worked with this before, let's say you have multiple children that are going to go through college. You've got somebody at Liberty now that's a freshman. Well, they're going to go to be, you know, going up, and then you've got one going again. You've got one going again. So this could be a house they could all live in.
Yes, that would be perfect.
Yes,
Yeah.
Save money, and you have your own investment. And if you wanted to do the one scenario, what a great thing it would be if, say, that son or daughter was to go on the loan with you, or was able to, and we can kind of work with that to get them to that point. But say if that son or daughter was able to go on with you as a parent, that's going to not only build that son or daughter's credit up even more because of the mortgage now that's going to be on their credit, but they're going to be part of investment as well. And so it's a win-win situation if you can make it work and avoid, you know, paying rent each and every month. I had done a scenario kind of like we were talking earlier, and I was looking at the market earlier, and it looks like from Lynchburg and all the surrounding county area, there's 66 on the market homes right now that are up for sale, listed. 66, which is not bad for our market and surrounding areas. You know, and this is in a price range from 150, I think I did 150 to 250. So 66 is not bad. So I was looking at one in particular, and it was only 175, I think it was. And if you put 20% down payment with mortgage, with no mortgage insurance, with tax and insurance estimate, and all situations vary, but you're talking about $1,350 a month in mortgage. And if you got your son or daughter in there and they had a roommate or two, that could pay for the mortgage almost, or it could pay for the mortgage.
Wow, I can see myself doing that, doing this.
Mary's wheels are running.
Yeah, especially with two in college, and my dream would be that they might use the opportunity while they're in school, and then they would buy it from me eventually. Like they'd want to stay there, and then they would just buy it. They'd be on the loan, and then they would just buy it entirely from us.
Great investment.
Yeah, it's a great investment.
I had that situation when my husband and I were first married. We graduated from college, and we bought an investment property.
Yeah.
And just last week, we put it on the market. It sold within 48 hours.
Wow.
It's paid for.
Wow.
So now I have that money to be able to go out and to invest either. So
it's a great story.
Yeah.
We have a new house on the block. Patty, tell us about it.
Yes, coming soon in Windhurst. It's a single family home with 3 levels, 2-car garage, and a 400 square foot storage building. This 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath features formal living and dining rooms, kitchen with an eat-on island with adjoining den. Upstairs are 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, convenient laundry, and bonus room on the 3rd floor.
Oh, wow.
This bonus room would make a great office or a 4th bedroom for a family member. So this is located in Windhurst. Just give me a call.
How much is it?
Well, this one is $424,900, but it is a 4-bedroom.
Wow.
And it also backs up to the woods for maximum privacy and includes new flooring, new lighting, smoke detectors, and all new painting throughout. So it's like a brand new home.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, I like to see homes like that have some privacy as well. So Patty, I know it's been an honor for you to be on the show today, and I know that you work with all clients from everywhere, and you go a lot of places because you're always traveling. So tell the viewers how they can get in touch with you, Patty.
Thank you. They can get in touch with me with pattybrooksrealtor@gmail.com. Patty's with a Y, Brooks with an S. pattybrooksrealtor@gmail.com, or you can call me at 434-546-3998. And I also, if you give me a call or you email me, I will mail you a book of referrals. It's great people that you can find, great plumbers, electricians. Rhonda's in there as a great lender, and I will mail that to you for free.
Wonderful. And if you have questions about a mortgage and getting pre-approved, I'm Rhonda Holt, the Loan Maven, and you can reach me at 434-221-6361 or visit my website at theloanmaven.com. Hope you have a great week and see you again soon.